Yo, what's good, y'all? UW back here again here in 2019. Let's get it. Bringing y'all episode 3, Trey Ballin, out here with Unfiltered. Now, in case you didn't catch either of my two previous episodes, go check it out in that playlist, that Unfiltered playlist, where you will hear complete, unvarnished, uncensored, raw, gritty, real shit. Alright? Unfiltered is a series of videos where I'm dealing with real issues that people face out here, that are dealing with out here, that affect the masses, and tell it in a way that is no spin, no corporate backing, no political agendas. Just tell it how it is, straightforward for the people, in a perspective and a lens that you probably never heard of or rarely ever heard of. Okay, get the people to understand, and you don't have to agree with my perspectives. I'm just giving y'all something that completely is outside of the mainstream. Completely, you're not even going to hear online. You're just not going to hear it because too many people, their pocketbooks are affected. No pocketbooks are affected here. If this podcast, if this blows up in a way I can make it a pocket, awesome. If I can make money off this, cool. But that is not the point of these videos. These videos is to talk about stuff that I talk about with individuals, talk about with groups of people, and to come out here and tell it like it is. Real talk out here. So what are we dealing with this time? The New World Order, the NWO, and no, I don't mean Hulk Hogan. I previewed this and I completely I said a man's name in the last one. If you watch the other episode, you know what I'm saying. That was me. Oh Lord, I got too many thoughts on my mind. But anyways, no, we're not talking about the wrestling new NWO. But it's interesting that was brought up. There's been talks about the New World Order for, jeez, in different terms for really centuries, if not millennia. Um, you really had, I mean, Shady's talked about it. A lot of rappers have talked about it. Kill Illuminati with Pac. A lot of, really since the 90s, stuff has been talked about. Okay, so this is nothing new. I can go into about Tribulation, the Book of Revelation. It can go into there, but there's been stuff. But I think that kind of shows why we don't have a new world order. There's been a lot of people, and some say conspiracy theorists, and I got to do a video on. That'll probably be the fifth episode of Unfiltered that I deal with what actual conspiracies are. Um, but anyways, I mean, I think I've talked about that briefly, but I'll get more in depth with my thoughts on conspiracies and conspiracy theories and whatnot, and the difference between reality and hogwash, foolishness. Here the thing is, New World Order. What does that even mean? Let's start out what it is. Let's break as we do. Let's break down each things and collect them, put it collectively together. New. When you look at the word new, we all know what the word new means. It means fresh. It means novel, or it means a changing of the guard. We'll go with the latter being changing of the guard. Okay. World. That has a number of uh, connotations, and it doesn't mean just globally. It depends on what your world is. Your world can be as small as your city. It can be as small as your town, your community, or it can be as big as the world or an expansion. If there's life out there and whatnot, it can be the cosmos. It depends the entire cosmos, the entire universe. So it depends on your lens. But if we're going to say it's the entire globe, okay, that's what people are going for. And order. Now, order can mean structuring kind of thing. It can mean a regime. Let's go. This is what people mean. So when they say New World Order, they mean, or NWO, they mean uh, pretty much a changing global regime. Okay, a change of the global regime, and and a lot of people claim that the New World Order is for consolidated power. Okay, there are a lot of problems with that. Now, I can get into, and I'm probably going to write a book on secret societies. But I've said this in the past, and this is apt for this video. There are no less than 50 secret societies that run shit. In the United States, there are a lot of secret societies in the United States. Some of them very benign, some of them more malign. But there are at least 8 major powers. At least 8 major powers. Off the top of my head, you have the FBI is a secret society. Um, and that's a big one. I don't want to bog down because that's a whole other topic. But groups like the CIA are a big one. Um, and there are potentially seven other major players. I'm not really focused on that at this point, but just keep that in mind. Why I brought up the CIA. But here's the thing. Remember, I said there are 50 groups worldwide. If you think of the G7 or the G8, you can think of that as a secret society. You could say, well, that's the number of presidents. Yeah, and what the hell do they talk about? And there's more backing to that G8 than you think of. But again, we're not going to get into that in this video. The thing about it is, and there are other banking groups or different ones, none of them have consolidated power. They fight amongst each other. They might be associated, but some of them who are in one group ain't in another group. So that kind of puts a large pinhole. Secondly, there is no current one world currency like you see. There is no current one world religion, no one world faith. There's no one world leader. Some can say the New World Order is pushing for that. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'll tell you what I think of the New World Order by the time we get to the end. But we don't see that. You see it to where, some have talked about these large uh, alliances and connections of nations. Again, Revelation already talks about that. Pretty much 10 groups of power in the world, um, whether it be the Americas, Oceania, Oceania. I can never Oceania or however you say that in those kind of things. African, all of the motherland, the continent of Africa coming together and a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, you hear that. Um, you know, there is push to where there is one form of monetary system that's being pushed. It's not capitalism, it's not socialism, it's not communism. This is fake capitalism. This is state capitalism and different stuff. It's not about free markets. We see it all across the globe. It's not just in the West. You see it heavily affecting China, India, and other nations as well. So you have that. Again, like I said, these globalists, they're not actually globalists for a utopia or for a collective of the people. They're looking for the same old aristocratic, nobility based system that we've always had in the world. So there is that. But this whole claim that there are these silent movers pushing, I'm not no doubt that there are power players. But here's the thing. There are too many different interests. There is no current new world order that's secretly pushing everything behind the scenes. Too much is popping off. Too many misdirections. They're too scared of the people. They don't have enough power. Also, there's too much free speech. And I'm not saying that free speech isn't censored, but there's too much free speech. It's not totalitarian enough, or there's not enough media influence. The mainstream media don't have any sway. The power of the internet is giving rise to a lot. And so those in positions of power continuously shuffle with this tech age. So the old way of doing things doesn't work anymore. See what I'm saying? As we're heading into the 21st century. So a lot of that has debunked a lot of this. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are looking at the New World Order in the way of past centuries. It's not like that in the world that we're currently in. Now you can say, wonder, are you one who's you're fucking right, you're part of it. Do I look like I'm motherfucking supporting and supported of any New World Order? Does it look like I'm higher up in the chain? Come on now, y'all. Does it look like I got buku bucks right now? Come on. No, I just call it what it is. Like I call it, with the supposed Illuminati, what's real and what's fictional. And people say, well, what about some of these orders that have existed? Yes, these orders exist. The Freemasons. There may even be remnants of the old medieval Knights Templar. That doesn't matter. You can say, well, do these groups influence? Sure, they influence. That doesn't make it a new world order. This episode is going to be shorter than the other ones because there ain't too much to talk about. I'm just mainly debunking a lot of the stuff that's said out here. Okay. Um. What else that people say about the New World Order? Oh, they want to. Oh, the things about vaccines and stuff. Yeah, sure. I mean, but here's the thing: they can do that at any time. What does it gain? You have to think profits. You have to think gaining. You know, uh, part of the reason why I'll give you things of a New World Order tactics that you don't think of in a second, but you have to understand about gains. Okay, what benefits a New World Order? Right? Why is cannabis illegal or for forced legalization? Control, because they know all of the benefits that cannabis does economically. I'm not just talking about recreational use. I'm talking about usage of hemp and all the stuff that do. Car chassis that was made of hemp. Man, there is technology that has stagnated and have been bought out. Stuff has been shut down. People bring up Nikola Tesla. That's New World Order shit. Control. It's all about control and what benefits them. Why are fossil fuels still so heavily, and we're not looking to other legitimate forms of alternative energy? Control. You control the markets. You control people's pockets. You feel me? You control, the stock market and stuff. That's still control. All of it, it's all control. When you start looking through that lens and you opens your mind. People talk about the banking system. Well, here's the thing. There's many things you can get into the banking system. But why is it set up the way that it is? Control. Loans, people in debt, control. Always go back to control. Go back to why we don't have an actual legitimate education system. Control. It's always control. That's what I'm saying. It's the old aristocratic nobility based system. It's a different game, but they modified it and evolved with the times. People's minds haven't evolved with the times. They didn't keep up. They kept up in the 19th century. They kept up for the most part, in the 20th century till, you know, post night from 1980s on. They haven't kept up. The players, the power players, oh, they changed, and their faces changed. You know, don't I say something? Don't make enemies with no face. Okay, what does that mean? For example, if you have an issue with somebody, you and me had an issue. I have a face. We can hash it out. Don't make enemies of the feds. Why? Because you can't defeat the feds. What are the feds? Exactly. They're not a single individual. It's an entire entity that's far larger and has far more resources. Oh, it's insane the things that people think, and they think, oh my gosh, you okay? You identify these power players. Some of them will remain in the shadow, but you identify the power players. Okay, you identify them, and are you looking to assassinate them? What it will achieve? Okay, you identify them. A law to go against, dude. You think laws are going to affect the real power players? You are. That is asinine. That's absurd. You don't understand power. You don't understand power if you think, well, just make this illegal and just make this illegal. We're going to rise up. I'm not saying don't have political power. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you think this system, which is designed specifically by those in positions of power, is going to take down those in positions of power, you see, Epstein got taken down. You think he was a big fish? You baka, you are a fool. If you think any one of these mofos got taken out, we're the big fish. Oh, this should be illegal. This person in prison. And Hefe's bosses run entire cartels from prison. You think prison's going to do anything? You don't understand power. Yeah, when I talk about the New World Order, okay, is there a New World Order? Maybe. I'm not a fool, but maybe. How would I construct if I was to build a thing of power? Okay. It depends on what we're asking for. Am I just looking for wealth? Am I looking for political power? Am I looking for collectively? How I would construct it? But then again, I'm not the kind of guy to build a kind of sinister order. But how I would construct it to where no one would understand, first of all, look at what Scarface Tony Montana said in the movie, right? First you'll get the money, then you'll get the power, then you'll get the woman. All right, that's what he said. But let's start out this. And I was talking with my homie Eric last night. Actually, I was explaining the history of gangs. Okay, in the West, in Britain, in the United States, and in the evolution of street gangs and mafias and things of that nature, mob, in as well as boxing. You look back. All right, first you gain the wealth. You build, and it's been said. I was watching this conspiracy cast on Telsver, phenomenal channel by the way. Great, they have great discussions. The thing is, You build to where you either take over. You have to get to a point, but you provide a product or service that becomes so much ingrained in the society. This first step. You provide a product and or service that becomes so ingrained in the society that the society can't look to live without it. Look at what Amazon's doing. Look at what Microsoft and those various tech companies are doing. Look at with automobiles and in the oil industry. That's first how you do it. You corner the market. You buy out or beat out all competitors. You have brand recognition. Okay, that's the first way you do it. And it's the same thing on the streets. It's the exact same game because all economics. You provide a product, you provide a service, and you beat out all competitors. You become the top dude. Right? You become the top family, the top gang, whatever. Same game. Now, political power. Secondly, you start to install people to represent your interests. Okay. You start affecting policy, you start affecting communities, you provide, you build infrastructure in communities, you provide jobs for people and whatever. You have people to start to trust you. You see, that's how you do it. You don't start off sinister because people will see that a red flag a mile away. The devil, you know. You come in as an angel of light, as scripture showcases, right? You get in good graces with the people. You have integrity and policies and things, right? You do this in a very calculated manner. You become successful, influential. Whether you individually have the power, but you probably don't want yourself to be touched. You probably want to pull the levers or levers, as some say, the strings of society. If you're a fan of One Piece, the heavenly demon Don Quixote do Flamingo Ike Joker. He was the underworld king, right? Watch me now. So you do it behind the scenes. You have people in positions of power. You know, the mob used to buy judges and politicians. You have lobbyists. You have people representing. Oh, and what you also do is you don't segregate. You get in good with women. You get in good with various ethnic groups. Oh, what you want to do? LGBTQ community? Y'all feel disenfranchised? Come, we'll support you with alternative agendas. You back these various causes. So now you're beloved all in society. That's how they do it in the modern way. Over time, over the next 30 years, you build up this cachet. You become commonplace. Your influence, whether people know your name or not, they don't realize how deep the spider web goes on. Now, if you really want to push it to the envelope, anyone who tries anything, you get blackmail on them. You get sensitive information on them, right? You can push, or you can find people who are yes men, who will kiss ass, who are kowtow to you. You build this myth of illusion that you're so powerful you are untouchable. You're just a man, but you make people believe you ought to be a god, a mythical figure. Now, what do? You set up this entire system. You cement the system, and any opposition to the system that you have, or the product that you produce, or your groundwork and foundation, you squash that. You have a court system that you can use to your advantage. You buy people out. You take them to law hell, to where they just drag court cases out, so where it bleeds people dry. You buy out the competition. You put pressure on enough to where they can't, either they fin and they bow and back off, or you just crush your opponents. Look at Commodore Cornelius Vanderbilt. Go back and look at him up. The man who built America was phenomenal about this. Okay, so that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Now, if you're talking about New World Order, get people who are like-minded, whose interests are similar to yours, whose mentality is similar to yours. Look at what they did with the Nazi Party, except the Nazi Party was stupid about how they went about it. But you get people and you get it behind the scenes. You make backdoor deals. You have conversations. You actually do a legitimate conspiracy. And conspiracies are never of large groups. Now, normally you don't have amongst 12 people because more people, you have more leaks. More people who know, more people who can screw you over or who can get selfish and greedy. You get a few books, you get a few people. For example, when John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, and J.P. Morgan, I was making sure, J.P. Morgan, they all came together and pretty much bought the presidency, or heavily influenced it to say the least. I believe it was with the McKinley election. See what I'm saying? That's how you do it. It's not the way that people, oh, it's just corporations, or it's this. No, just basic ass people. You build society to control society. You change the way things are done. They did it industrially, they're doing it with tech. They did it with agriculture. They use kings, they use figureheads. Pay attention to the aristocracy and the nobility. Those are the power players, not the kings. The kings only have power because the aristocracy lets them have power. Here's how you know when things get crazy. When the king goes against the aristocracy, now you have potential of mega war. Now you have political power involved. Watch every time aristocracies fall, what do you have? A massive vacuum of power. Or if it was a plan for aristocracies to fall, you have chaos form. Am I in support of aristocracies? No, but I'm just telling y'all, New World Order is a new name for the old game. It's just new tactics for the way that they've always been playing. They've just evolved with the times. Y'all need to catch up and pay attention. If you want to try to take out the New World Order, then you're going to have to produce a new system. You're going to have to present a different alternative. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just the nature of the beast. Understand Machiavelli, the prince, understand power. Once you understand power, you understand the game. You don't get all up in arms. You don't stress out and get all kinds of crazy because it's way beyond. It's just simple. Oh, change this, vote for this. No, you don't understand, fam. You just don't get it. Unexpected one, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts on this subject. There's a lot more that can be said, but we'll do that at a different time. And all right, y'all, have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Peace. Stay safe out here.